Alright, welcome back to Rust Country Garage. So, today we are back working on my daily. So, it is currently beautiful weather outside right now. I don't know if the camera picks it up, but it's raining pretty good. So, good thing I have at least a little bit of garage. If you've seen my previous videos, this particular arrangement probably looks similar, and that's because I haven't even taken it off the jack stands from doing the oil pan. I figured while I have it up and I can still crawl underneath, I am going to attempt to do the rear or the reverse sensor in this thing. So this car is a 6-speed manual transmission, and what happens is when you go in reverse, there is a mechanical switch that actually gets depressed. And what I think is happening right now, see if I can show you real quick. What's happening right now is that this little button right here, when the transmission gets up to its normal operating temperature, which it operates at a fairly warm temperature, this button is expanding and is getting stuck when I put it in reverse. So when I take it out of reverse to go, drive, so if I'm backing out of a parking spot or backing into a parking spot, if the transmission is still hot, that button is remaining pressed in like that, and the car still thinks that it's in reverse. Now luckily, like I said, this is a 6-speed manual transmission, so unlike a computer-controlled automatic, even though the car, or the sensor, says it's still in reverse, I can still drive it. Which is a really good thing because I found this out pretty darn far from home. Like an hour away from home is when this started happening, or when I found it happening. So, yeah, I was able to still get home, and the only downside is the reverse lights don't go off. So as long as it's the daytime, it's not terrible. Hasn't stopped me from driving it. I just take precautions to not have to put it in reverse, unless I know that the car's going to be parked, because as long as it sits for like a couple of hours, everything cools down, it goes back to normal functionality. So really all this is just taking this plug, or this sensor here, and replacing it. The problem is, you can see that this wire is kind of tied and coiled in on itself because it is extremely long. And that's because from where the sensor sits to where it plugs in, this thing plugs in like somewhere's on the back of the engine, somewhere's down around there, and all of this fun electrical area. In fact, I think it might even be one of those wires up over there. And so getting to the sensor is actually pretty easy on the Legacy here. On other six-speed Subaru cars, this particular sensor is a bear to get to, and you actually have to remove mounts and lower everything on a jack in order to get access to it. But for me, it's pretty out in the open, pretty easy to get. So we're going to get down there, try to get set up so I can show you everything. So I'll be right back with you. Alright, I'm going to do my best to get some film in here. It is a very tight squeeze, but right there is our little sensor buddy. So it's that black cable, and as you can see, it travels way up there. So this is a 3/4 inch wrench for this job. I don't know if I'm going to be able to film this, honestly. Just for reference, here's me. here's the car. I'm not very far away from the car, so I think I'm gonna have to turn the camera off and try to get a wrench up in there. So bear with me. We'll be back here in a moment. Might not be able to see it up there. Old button is out, and I don't know if you can hear this, but it makes a crunchy noise. So out with the old and in with the new. And yeah, so I had to hug the transmission because the connector, I was right, is right up in there. I don't know what the camera's exactly seeing, but yeah, not terrible. You just pretty much got to hug the transmission in order to get it. So I'm gonna get this thing changed out, and we'll see you in a few. All right. New connector up in, routed back around through all of the little cabling connectors or holders, and shaboom, new one in there. So that was actually much easier than I expected it to be. Like I said, everyone else, all the other videos I saw, they were always saying how you gotta undo this cross member here and then undo like motor mounts, and then you have to drop, you know, the whole thing down on a jack so that you can get to it, because that little connector's like at the top. But it turns out on these 2013s, it's right there. And like I say, a simple 3/4 wrench is all you need, because this is actually pretty easy, and maybe some longer gangly arms like what I got. So that's that, job done. Pretty quick and simple. I'm just gonna snug this connector down a little bit more. I don't think it needs to be super tight, but we're gonna give her the old ugga dugga, oh, the arm ugga dugga, and then we'll be done. Okay, so update on the reverse sensor. So I just drove home about 45 minutes or so, and before, if I put it in reverse like this after driving this long, it would just stay there even after I remove it from reverse, and now it's off. So, see it up there, bloop, reverse. And it's off. So, sure enough, it was that crunchy sensor, and that fixed it. So, if you drive a 6-speed manual transmission in a Subaru, if your reverse light is getting stuck on, it's more than likely that little sensor there. So, good handy tip, and nice easy job, really. So, all right, quick update, and I'll catch you in the next one.